Welcome to the Finance Geeks, a podcast about real financial planning. Join us as we get into the nitty-gritty, discussing everything from pensions to portfolios. If you're into numbers, strategies, and running a successful practice, this is your ultimate geeky hangout.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the Finance Geek podcast. Thanks for joining us. My name is Warren Shute, and I'm joined by
Paul Cleworth.
And today we're talking about goal setting and how to make 2025 your best year yet. So, Paul, be gentle on you today. How are you feeling? What have you been up to?
I'm nursing a little bit of a hangover from a big event I went to yesterday in London, a lunch with some friends. There was 8 of us. We went to
the royalty of financial planning, I think. That's what you were doing. You were hobnobbing with the stars, really.
I got invited. What we're going to say, they're good guys.
Mine was missed in the post, I think.
Yeah, we didn't invite you. Sorry about that. Next year, maybe, if you're good. But it was at a restaurant that's fairly new. It's in near Barbican. It's called Ibai. It's a Spanish sort of Basque grill. And it's had some of the best food I've ever eaten. It's one of the best steaks. I've put a link in the show notes to the restaurant itself and to their Instagram page because people take pictures of the food, which I like doing. And it is amazing.
Yeah, millennials take pictures of their food.
Well, maybe.
I don't take pictures of my food.
Hey, listen, if you love food, which I do, and I'm sure you like good food as well, I would totally recommend it. So,
okay, nice.
I've been doing that. Also, I've had a big review last week of our Trails models, tandem risk assessed investment levels. So we met with Vanguard and Dimensional, and this is all prepping for our winter bulletin, which comes out in January to all of our clients. So we sort of have some interesting information in that. Don't think we're going to make too many big changes this year. To be honest, it's very once you've got it, you can only tweak it at this stage. I think if you make dramatic changes to your models, it's a bit disconcerting for your clients. So we've got a good system, and we're going to sort of keep running with it, but minor tweaks around the edges.
So you got a mix of Vanguard and Dimensional in your portfolio.
We do, yes.
We should probably do a session on that. So do a session on our portfolios and stuff.
We should. I think that there'll be some people listening to this that already know who Dimensional and Vanguard are, and some advisors that use them in their models. They have, passive, evidence-based or index-based portfolios, low-cost ones that we do. But it does take a lot of time. I mean, it took us hundreds of hours initially to model everything and to regress the figures and sort of show the last 10, 50, 100 years of data. I mean, there's a lot of data, and we generally go back 20 years when we show data to clients and say, look, investing means long-term and 20 years plus, certainly 10 years plus, and just say this is what you should expect. So, yeah, they were good meetings. They're good guys. I like all of them from Dimensional Vanguard. You use them as well, don't you?
We do, yeah, both Dimensional and Vanguard. Yeah, we like them. Very good guys. I got a lot of time for both companies. We
also took our team to the Centurion Club for a Christmas lunch. That's in Hemel, between sort of Hemel and St Albans. It's a golf club. It was very, very nice indeed. So enjoyed that. And then last weekend just gone, we put up all our Christmas trees. And when I say all of them, there's 2 of them, one in the barn and one in the house. And my wife did the one in the house pretty much. I remember we were moving the tree, and I picked it up in the middle, and it's not actually a real tree; it's a fake tree. So it toppled over, and all the baubles fell off. So she basically just walked out and said, "You got to fix that." And then
go, Alison.
When my son Miles did the barn Christmas tree, it looked like he was wrapping up a dead body or something. I mean, the lights were literally really tight round the top of it, and it was such a mess, quite frankly.
Miles, Daddy is only joking.
He did a good job. Well, he did do a good job, actually. It was terrible. We had to take it all off and redo it again. So we put Christmas music on, and then myself and Alison did it, and Miles sort of just played in the chair while playing on a game on the computer. So, yeah. Also watched our son, Rory, who's 9, go in his musical assembly. So he played Little Town of Bethlehem on the piano in front of his entire school. So it's not a particularly big school. Maybe there's 200 kids or something, but it does take a lot of nerves, a lot of confidence to do that.
Did he get on?
And he did great. He did really well, and he didn't get as flustered as he has done in the past. But did a lot of practice, and I'm very proud of him. So I hope he keeps it up.
Do you know what? It's a message I drill into my kids is practice, 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 practice. Because when you practice, when you actually perform it, it's just more natural. But it takes a lot of confidence and effort to go and perform in front of an audience. No matter about 200, in your peers, your friends are the hardest people to present to, I think.
Yeah, definitely. No, he did great. Do you play an instrument, or do your kids play any instruments?
I do. I grew up with an instrument. My dad was a musician, so I grew up basically. I was about 5 and got given a cornet, so I can play the cornet and most brass instruments. I
Nice.
like the piano. I'm not so good on the piano, but I like the piano. I bought myself a trumpet actually last year and played "Happy Birthday" for my dad for his 99th birthday. And I'm going to dust it off again. He's 100 in March, so I'm going to play it again. But this time we've got the band he used to play for coming. We're having a party at the house. They're going to come in the garden and stuff, and I'm going to. They don't know it yet, but I'm going to. Some of them are clients actually. So hey guys, I want to play with you. Play "Happy Birthday," yeah. So I'll do that. Yeah, I like music.
So what have you been up to this last couple of weeks then? Fun?
When we were off air, you were saying about what such an amazing steak you had at that restaurant when you went with royalty. And we also had an amazing steak. We went to a steak restaurant called Seth's in Cheltenham for our Christmas party. We had a great time. Fantastic. I probably had the best ribeye. What's it called? Prime rib steak I've ever had. It was a fantastic. So we had a really good night. That was really good. Lots of Christmas carols. So Christmas carols at the school, Christmas carols at the Royal Albert Hall on Sunday with family and stuff. That was really nice.
And are you in panto this year or getting dressed up as Santa? Because you look a bit like him.
Yeah, I'm working on it. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll get this. You'll get the analogy to it. But my beard is growing longer and it's white, isn't it?
Yes. You need some just for men. Yeah. Get it in your beard.
Yeah, I know. We're actually the opposite. You're whiter on top and I'm whiter on the beard. We should swap beards and we'd be like matching.
Let's do that. Yeah.
It's and a bit sad, if I'm honest. I watched my daughter's very last hockey game. So Bella leaves school in July time after her exams and stuff, and we're going out of hockey season. She'll go back and do netball. So I've been watching her play hockey since she was probably about 6 or something. So I watched her very last hockey game. If I'm honest, I'm not sad to see the game go. It's a real rough sport. That ball goes flying.
They wear gum shields, don't they?
Gum shields, face guards when they're doing the goal attacks.
Have you got all your decorations up, or have you had them up since the 1st of December?
Do you know what? No, not 1st of December, but they are all up. And if I'm honest, I know my place. So I kind of say, where do you want it? What shall I do? Can I make tea, coffee, wine? What can I carry? And I leave it to Nikki and Bella to dress the tree and stuff like that. But then make sure the music's on. And you're quite artistic, though. You're very good, creative with your marketing brochures and stuff like that. Amazing.
Thanks.
No, you are. You give you credit. All of your stuff is really polished. Whereas I don't really have that side of the brain. I'm like, that'll do. That's nice.
Well, I always thought you were sort of, half-wit, or just, is that half a brain?
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, half a brain. Got a very big head though, like very big head. So
I have too. I ordered a cap recently from this website called Ann Sons, and it was an XXL. It's size 63 centimeters. I think they had like one in stock. No one wanted it.
That's my size. I'm 63. We went go-karting with some friends and stuff. And
you couldn't get the helmet on?
Couldn't get the helmet. They had to go, wait 1 minute, sir. Went out the back. They got Uber. They got Uber helmet and the Uber helmet fitted. I was like, yeah, great. It's like,
tremendous.
So, So, main focal point today, Paul.
Yeah.
Planning 2025. Making it your best year yet. We've kind of got you came up with some kind of structure of questions and stuff of the flow of how we should do it. Where do you want to start with this?
So I think that we should talk about why you should goal set initially. The sort of the importance of goal setting, and we'll then go through some other sections. I've actually, I'm a total geek. I've got 8 sections. Of course,
love it. No,
I need multiple quotes as well later on. Yeah, The starting point, I think, rather than just go straight into it, say, this is what I'm going to do in 2025, and this is the reason. I think you've got to start off to begin by discussing why setting goals is actually crucial, and then you've got to tie it into whether is it a financial goal, or is it a personal goal, professional goal? What kind of goals are they? The reason why it's important, you've got to remember how having clear goals provides you with direction and motivation. It's also the psychological impact of goal setting as well, and how it creates accountability and a sense of progress.
100%. I give the analogy of a ship in the ocean without a sail up. Goals. You're just going to go around. You're going to be directed by the tide. And the same with you as an individual in life. If you don't have goals or outcomes or things that you want to accomplish, you're going to achieve someone's goals, and they're either going to be yours or your bosses or your spouses or your kids or something. Someone's going to tell you what to do, and you've got to decide for yourself. So, as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about knowing your outcome, ching, and in having goals. In I think it's fun. I think it brings your confidence up, and I think when you achieve things, you feel better about yourself. So, yeah,
No, I like that.
I'm a big goal setter. I think it's really important. When we leave school, no one really congratulates us or puts us on the back and say, "Yeah, good job. You did a good job there." And I think it's self-motivating when you achieve things yourself and you say to yourself, "Hey, good job there, bud. I done all right on that one. I did well."
I like what you said there about you'll achieve something, or rather, you might not end up where you think you will. I mean, there's a great quote from Yogi Berra that says, "If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else."
Yogi Bear, did you say?
It's not Yogi Bear. It's Yogi Berra. He was a baseball player.
Oh, was he? I think if I was wise enough, I think there's something out of Alice in Wonderland about any path takes you somewhere or something. But yeah, so I think the importance is having some kind of direction and it giving you some kind of focus of what to aim towards. Now, I personally like to start with Stephen Covey quote, but with the end in mind. What's it look like when it's finished? What do you want people to say about you when in your obituary and stuff like that, and work back of say, what's your why? What brings you more happiness? And then set goals like rather than sort of just setting goals that are right in front of you. So, okay, well, the next 12 months, I want to do 10% more business, or I want to lose 12 pounds or whatever it might be. Why? What is it? What's the motivation behind it?
Yeah. Well, you've got to have a longer term goal, because it's no, as you said, it's no good just having something for the next 3 months or the next year, because you think, well, where is it actually going to head? So if you, as a financial planning firm, I'm thinking, okay, what do I want for next year? But I'm thinking it in the context of, the next 10 years, because there needs to be a direction that we're heading. Am I going to increase the size of my team? Are we going to change some software, some processes? How am I going to better engage with my clients? But as you say, it's got to be something that's you're constantly working on and evolving. Because if you want to be top of your game, you can't just do the bare minimum. You can't, if you're completely directionless. You think, well, why am I even running the business?
Yeah.
I ask myself all the time, who do I serve? And it's a term that I took from Brett Davison. He said, you ask yourself, who do you serve? And the fact is, we serve our clients. We want to serve them as best as we can. And to do that, you can't just sit on your hands. You can't just assume that next year is going to be the same as this year.
No.
Things will change. Not just in markets and in the economy and all of that, but in their lives. And things are moving so fast. I'm a big believer in trying to stay 2 steps ahead and think, right, what can I do next year that's not what everyone else is doing? How can I better engage with clients? Is it new sales aids? Is it new little videos that I'm going to send to them? Can I improve? And to do this, you've got to survey your clients quite often. You should ask them, what are we doing well, and also what could we do to improve.
Yeah, it's ironic because that's one of the questions we ask at our planning meeting. What do you enjoy? What we're doing? Is there anything you'd like us to stop doing? You say give you an idea, but I think maybe doing it as a survey might be better because it's more remote and they're not in front of you, so they don't want to tell you. Sometimes they wouldn't want to tell you things.
Anonymous as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think one of the things I want to do next year is more surveys of clients. So
Oh,
we
really?
can, yeah, it's kind of weird because you sometimes don't want the answers. You think, well, I'm quite strong headed. I just want to do what I want to do. But it's not as if you have to take on board all the suggestions. If you ask a lot of clients to get a fair view of how you're performing and what you could do better, do it anonymous as well. You could take some of that and one step at a time look to improve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's interesting is we're talking about goal setting in 2025, and I think it's in the context of not just the business and where I want to get to next year, but also personally. So it's both professionally and personally. So when we're talking about 2025, one of the things I'd suggested we do is initially, when you're trying to plan for the future, you've got to reflect on what's happened in this past year and ask yourself, what went well for you in 2024 and why? Were there any goals that you set that you didn't achieve, and what held you back,
Mhm.
and then what surprised you about your progress or lack of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh,
And you know what the importance of that as well is, without going too deep, but in psychology, there's a thing called loops. It closes loops. So, how do I explain it? You kind of throw me a little bit, but when you start something and you don't finish it, okay, consciously it's out of your vision, but subconsciously it's still in there.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I will, one of the exercises that I do, I start on January 1st. I look through my diary and I go through and I make sure any unclosed loops are closed. Anything that I thought I was going to start, anything else, any conversations that I initiated and I'm not sure they are, anything, any relationships that I think aren't going as well as I'd hoped they were going,
yeah,
I'll revisit them. And it kind of closes that off. It just, puts that elephant out of the corner sort of thing.
yeah.
So I think,
I'm totally guilty of taking on too many projects and not closing all those loops as you've mentioned. So one of the things we did recently was put a sort of whiteboard at the bottom of my stairs to my right here in the office, and it's not something that clients can see when they come in because they don't tend to walk up the stairs here. They'll go through into the boardroom. But on it, we've got a list of clients to call. So everybody in the office writes on there, "Oh, Paul, you haven't spoke to this client in a while. Call them or email them." And then there's a list of projects where, as we do them, we put a line through them. And it's massively old school having it written down on the wall, but it's
yeah,
visual.
it
So
works.
if you want to have something to do, you're absolutely right. You've got to go through, what needs still doing. There's no point coming up with loads of new stuff for 2025 if you haven't finished things in 2024.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So I guess if you listen to this, you're in a financial plan, or if you're in business at all, to be honest, and you want to sort of take away, look at your diary from January, go through your diary, start making notes of relationships, tasks, projects that you started, you thought about, and you haven't finished off, and then that can almost form the beginning of your goals for 2025 going into the next year.
So once you've done that, once you've reflected on the past year, you're then ready to sort of have a vision for the coming year, and you then shift your focus on the 2025. So there's no point waiting until the end of January to start doing it. You really do have to either start now in December or very very early January. Um,
Yeah,
and then it's asking yourself, where do you want to be at the end of 2025? So we're talking about doing it for the year ahead. So and you ask yourself, where do I want to be financially? Where do I want to be personally? And if nothing does change a year from now, are you okay with that? Because you don't have to. It's not essential to constantly be doing new stuff. I think it's healthy. It's important, but
yeah,
I think you do have to ask yourself, well, what happens if I don't tick all these boxes? What happens if I don't achieve it? And the problem with a lot of goal setting is it's either it's not done in a smart way. When you've heard of the acronym SMART: be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. The goals you've got to sell, they've got to be achievable goals. There's no point saying financially, I earn 50,000 this year, I need to be 100,000 by next year, or I'm going to grow my portfolio from 20,000 to 100,000 in 1 year. It's very unlikely to be the case unless you put a load of money in. But you've got to envision the success. So when it comes to something like for clients of the advisors that we speak to, this could mean debt reduction. I'm going to pay down my mortgage. It could mean increased savings. It could mean better investment habits. But having some form of vision of that, and that essentially means writing it down and having remembering what these things are going to be, because then you can measure it later on.
there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and it.
Oh, who's getting geeky now?
Well, I know. I'm just trying to bring, a bit of techie into the, trying to add my value. It's normally you carrying the show, so I appreciate it. And it just brings your attention to things. You notice things that you have in your forefront of your mind. Okay.
Hmm.
And a great example is you might have gone into a shop, saw a particular type of shirt and thought, that's pretty unique. I'll buy that. And you go out, you look around, you notice other people wearing it. Or that you think about driving a nice blue BMW or something, you go out and you think, actually, they're all over the place. And presenters often do this by sort of saying to an audience, look around the room, see what you notice. Okay, now close your eyes. Tell me everything you saw that was yellow. Because you wasn't thinking for yellow things, you didn't see it. But then when you
Yeah.
look around, you notice everything. And this is goal setting. Goal setting helps this. If you say, well, these are things that I want in my life, this is what I'm going to be attracted to, you're more likely to work or move more towards it. And I'll really like put my cards and be honesty here. I even did this 29 years ago when I met my wife. So the story behind this was I was actually selling gym membership, okay, 30-ish years ago, 31 years ago. I went into a couple, sold them gym out, and I saw this girl, and I thought they were with her boyfriend. They were completely in love, really, really happy. And I thought, do you know what? I want to be in a relationship like that. And I wrote down a design that described how I wanted my wife to be like, everything else. And no word of a lie, I met her. I met Nikki, and that's how. And this is why I'm so passionate about goal setting. I've done it with so many things in my life, but the reticular activating system is very, very powerful. And goal setting supports it in your accomplishment of achieving things.
You got to be able to visualize it.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
got to be in the forefront of your mind, hasn't it? Because you're much more likely to achieve it if you think about it more often.
And this goes on to the sort of snippet, the implications or the implementation of the goal setting. It's all very well, saying, writing down your goals, this is what I want. And when I present, I normally say, how many set New Year's resolutions? That's a form of goal setting. How many of you have forgotten about them by Valentine's Day? And it's so true. So many people forget about these so quickly. So I literally laminate, it's in the other room, my goals. And I have one set behind my taps in my house, which is a little bit embarrassing because we're selling our house at the moment and people are viewing the house, so they obviously see them. So when I'm cleaning my teeth in the morning or at night, I read them, so I know what's the format. And I carry a set in my bag with me around, so when I'm away.
Very good.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's very good, but that's what I do. I'm not saying it's the ideal or the right way of doing it, but it's quite sort of important to me. But
so without getting specific, then have you achieved all of your goals in 2024? The ones you wrote down?
No, and I got records of this going back for 20 plus years. I normally get about 70% of my goals, 70-80%. And I think that's healthy because I think if it's a given you're going to achieve it, then actually it's not really a goal at all, is it? It's just part of life. That's what you're going to do. And if it's so outlandish that, oh my God, it's unlikely you're going to get it, you're setting yourself up for failure. You kind of want to be getting around the 70-80% mark, I believe. That it's going to stretch you and achieve you and make you a bigger, better person, but it's not necessarily going to break you. And when I set goals about 10 years or so ago, they were always financial or personal. They're always revenue in the business this, personal income this, savings this, body weight this, that sort of stuff. And then I developed a thing called peak. So I have personal goals, back my personal, economic goals, adventure goals. Now that was a new one for me because I never spent time to consciously say, what am I going to play and do? What adventure things am I going to do? And then contribution goals. What am I going to do that's giving back? It's not about warrant, it's pro bono. So I want to go and do a presentation, go and see someone, that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here all high and mighty say I get more satisfaction out of the contribution goals, stuff like that. But it does make you feel a better individual. When it was very focused around the financial goals, personal goals for me, or economic goals, it was less so. The PEAK acronym, personal, economic, adventure, and contribution.
And that's your acronym, isn't it? It's something you've just come up with. Yeah.
It's something like yeah. It's spread across. It's to give you breadth of goal setting rather than it being narrow. Okay, my outcome is to lose 5 kilograms, or to earn £1 million. It's more of a case of okay. Let's be a bit broader as an individual. And I normally suggest fewer is better. You're much more likely to achieve fewer goals than you are if you've got a big array of goals to chase after.
The majority of people, I would guess, probably don't sit down in January and think of what goals they're going to set themselves for the next year. I mean, as you mentioned there about New Year's resolutions, there is that, but that was a very short term and a bit twee, and as you say, a lot of them are to do with losing weight because you feel so bad eating so much over Christmas. If you want to achieve something, often it's not just about writing it down. I think it's about getting a bit of help. So if someone wants to improve their finances in some way, go see a financial planner. They'll hold you to account. They'll give you some direction. They'll give you the strategy. I have a gym trainer who comes every Wednesday called Juan, awesome guy, and he makes me want to try hard. He comes up with he pushes me, he encourages me, and I think I want to do it for me to stay in good shape. But it's quite good having somebody who comes in once a week and says, okay, do this, and they give you some direction.
You won't be surprised to say that I share this with my kids. So I say to them, what's your outcome for the year? And then I say, right, don't focus on the outcome, focus on the habits that you need to instill in yourself to achieve that. It's because, just like you're saying, it's like you might want to lose £10, whatever it might be. So don't focus on losing £10. Think, okay, I need to, eat so many calories a day. I need to move so many steps a day, or whatever. It's the actions that help us achieve the outcome, as opposed to the outcome itself. So I did a LinkedIn video this morning, and I don't know what Atomic Habits says. I've never read the book, but it's about the habits of life, I think, and making things easy for yourself. Set yourself up for success. So my son says to me, "Why do you train in the morning? Are you as strong in the morning?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm nowhere near as strong in the morning. But I know I'm more likely to get the workout in if I train first thing in the morning than I am if I work late and come in late." So it's not about, for me, it's about the habits. Like I get up, no one's around, do my little thing, and then go in the gym. That's me done. Now, that's my time. Now I'm owned by Lexington for the next few hours.
You're right. You should read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. It is excellent. We've got lots of the copies on our bookshelf. I give one now and again to clients when they come in. I did an article on habits, a little talk on habits, and it's on our website. It's one of the tandem talks that I've done, and talking about getting into the habit. And it's often the case that that you're right. People, the goal is so big that it's very difficult to break it down, and it's just unimaginable. And I completely agree with you, 100%. That's as you say, that getting into the right habits. So if you want to save money,
Yep.
Getting the regular premiums going, getting some strategy and getting the behavior right is super important. And you're right, absolutely right. The same with getting fit or getting more sleep, whatever. It's repetition, lots of repetition, getting up and going. It's kind of weird because every Monday morning at 5:15, my alarm goes off to go to the gym at 6, and I come round for the first 45 minutes. It takes that long. And you said you're not very strong in the morning. I don't think it matters what time of day, because once you're warmed up properly, if you warm up properly, you can totally be as strong. You totally can. I suppose it's slightly different for everyone. So I accept if someone feels that they're better in the afternoon, but it's trying to get it in, isn't it? It's trying to have where else am I going to do it during the day? In the evening, and then it's children time, it's tea, it's all bedtime, bath time, all that.
The best thing when I do coaching, best thing I say is like, the guy says to me, I just can't get up in the morning. I'm like, just go to bed earlier. It's not rocket science, guys. It's like, you obviously need so many hours sleep, and research has shown how important sleep is. So it's not about sleep deprivation. Just get your 7 or 8 hours in, but just shift your body clock.
There is that. That's a quality line. That just go to bed earlier. Yeah,
just go to bed earlier. It's no, definitely.
Hey, listen. What I'd like to talk about now is about connect, and we will come on to our individual goals, I'm sure, later on for 2025 for our businesses and some of the things we'll be doing. But let's talk about connecting goals to your values, because I think when you talk to your clients, and when I talk to my clients, if you don't anchor your goals or their goals to their values, it doesn't make it as meaningful. So you've got to ask the question, what matters to you most? How do your goals reflect that? What sort of legacy do you want to build? Is it financial? Is it something else? And a client who sort of might prioritize, education or savings or reducing work hours to spend more time at home. If you think about connecting the goals to your values and think about what your values are first, you're much more likely to actually, in my opinion, to achieve those goals because they mean more to you.
100%. He missed that one because he's a little bit hungover. He's not as sharp as he normally is. It's
I got you.
You mentioned it earlier. So many people use the SMART acronym to set goals. I tend to use the SMAC acronym. No, this isn't something I created.
Here we go.
Okay. Specific, measurable. Okay. The same. Attainable. So you've got a 60, 70% chance of achieving it. But then compatible to your values and your mission. I think making sure things are compatible, because I will often challenge clients about their outcomes. We talked about their outcomes, if we're having this conversation 3 years from today, that sort of question. And the most recent one I had was, what's money mean to you? And he said, well, money's security. Okay, great. What does that mean? Explain to that. What else? Money's adventure. Okay. I said, can you see that conflict there between your two values, that you've got security keeping you safe and secure, but equally you want adventure and stuff? She's like, wow, that's like a light bulb moment. And I think it's really making sure that your goals and what you're after are compatible with your values, And then when they are, you're kind of in the zone. You're just like, you're a lot more focused on, achieving things. Most common one is executives typically want to float the company, that they may not own the whole company, but float the company or build the company, that sort of stuff. But equally be at every play, music recital, game, sports day, stuff like that for the kids. I'm like, there's a conflict there. Something's got to give, and we've got to sort of work that out. So that compatibility enables you to be congruent. And that's one of the reasons why in my coaching program, I don't try and get everyone to be like me. I always say, what do you want?
God forbid.
Yeah. Well, no, that's true, because you don't want a load of Lexingtons around the country. You kind of want everyone to be running their own show, to saying, this is
It's
how
got to
I
be
want to run.
authentic.
100%.
Authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So
I'm
the compatibility is
fascinated
key.
about the concept of values, and I've put in the show notes a link to a PDF which is called Discovery Questions. So these are tandem discovery questions, and we talk about values in there. I've also put a couple of links as well to two websites which talk about values, what they are, and why they're important. So just to give a definition of values, because I think it's important, especially if you're going to sort of start to prepare for 2025, and you do that without thinking about what your values are, what means most to you. So values are your principles, beliefs, and ideals that guide your decisions and your behavior, and they act as an internal compass, helping you determine what's important in your life, and they shape how you prioritize your time, your energy, your resources. They also influence your goals, your relationships, and your sense of fulfillment. So it's asking yourself, what truly matters to me? What do I stand for? How do I want to live my life?
Yeah.
And they might include things like, honesty, family, financial security, freedom, health, personal growth, service to others, things that you've mentioned, Warren. And so if it was something like health, if that was one of your values, to remain healthy, you've got to then prioritize exercise, nutrition, sleep. I don't think a lot
100%.
of people do that. They don't think about what the values are. They don't
No,
they don't write them down. Why would you?
you exactly said the right thing there. You prioritize exercise, things like that, which are habits. Does that make sense? You didn't
Yeah.
say, get your blood sugar at a certain level or get to a scale weight. It's the habits. And I think this is the most important thing that people can take away from this session. It's having a KPI, a measurable, an outcome that you're going to aim for. So you know when you've achieved it. It's quite black and white. It's clear. But basing the achievement of that on activity, of habits, a routine. So yeah, I think that's really important. Definitely. It's almost like
There's
we
a
know what we're
whole
talking about.
Well, maybe. There's a whole raft of information on values, though, and where they come from, and how to define them. And it's to say, I would encourage people just to have a look in the show notes and download it, because once you have established what your values are and you think about what's important to you, it makes the goals much more relevant, and you can start planning out. And I think it's better to be quite not limited, but just don't, as you said, don't put like 10 different goals down for 2025. It's just, you have too much to do. You'll just set yourself up for failure, because it's unattainable. It's very, very difficult.
It is.
When it comes to setting goals for your business,
Yeah.
because there will be advisors listening to this that think, right, well, what am I going to do differently in 2025? And you could start writing stuff down, but quite honestly, I think it's important to do it with somebody else, because someone has to call you on some of them and check them, even if it's a friend, a trusted partner, a business coach, your spouse, someone else in the business themselves itself, just to check that they're realistic goals and that you're all heading in the right direction. So I imagine, Warren, that you sit with your team when you talk about goals for 2025 for the team
Yeah.
and for the business.
So it happens over a period of time. It's literally started today. So we had a meeting just before this with the practice manager, my wife Nikki, and myself about the direction and stuff. I mull over it. I do quite a lot of work on it over Christmas and stuff like that, because I quite like that quiet time. That is it Cal Newport, deep thinking. Just have some deep, really spend some time thinking about it. And then the first week back in the new year, I don't go into the office to work. I work on, and we put the plan together.
Oh, right. Very organized.
Yeah. It's been like it forever. I don't know. It just, I have to start the process now while I'm still in work mode. I then allow my subconscious to do its stuff, and normally over a nice glass of red wine. Start giving it some thought and planning it out. I think when you're away from the doing, you become more creative. And then I put the plan together first week in January, when they're basically catching up on emails and calls and everything else.
Very good. The important thing as well is to think about the barriers that you might have for 2025, and when you, in your goal setting itself, and overcoming those obstacles. So, as well as plotting out what your goals are going to be, you've then got to think about what might stop you from achieving them and how you can address it now. So this comes down to habits again and systems that you can create to stay on track. Um, so it could be, if it's financial plan, it could be automating savings, scheduling a monthly check-in or having a review meeting with your clients in that regard, working with an accountability partner. So I think that it's as you say, it's not just about writing down some audacious goals and then just not looking at them again.
Yeah, no,
no,
yeah, I agree with you on that. And in fairness, to you, that's something that I don't do. So I don't look at, why would I not achieve this? But that's a really good thing to do, because it's almost like doing like a post, where it's a pre-mortem, right? You're dissecting it and saying, okay, what could potentially go wrong? And it's something I don't do.
yeah.
And yeah, maybe I could do that this year. I can have a look and say, what might happen to stop me achieving this? That's the kind of
Yeah.
question you ask, I guess, right?
It is. You don't want to be overly disappointed if because things will come up that are obstacles that you won't expect. And in the business, markets correct.
Mhm.
Rules change, staff quit, or move on. People are ill. Things happen, and so I'm very big on the sort of stoic mindset. These lots of these things can happen. You really do have to just not get flustered, and
Yeah.
that's hard to do in itself. That takes a lot of, and I can't say that I'm one that never gets flustered. I do now and again, but I think seeing the bigger picture, someone's got to be pushing the team, pushing the business, as in leading it and showing the way, and making sure one way or another you're on track.
Mhm.
Organizing in the company meetings, and then having an accountability for everyone, including myself. What's been going well, how can we improve? I mean, I do an appraisal with all the team in March, because it's the end of the company year. We do an appraisal for each person and ask the question, what's been going well, what could be a bit better, how what do you think we should do this year, how could we improve? So we'll do it in January as a team, and there's not a lot of time left in December now, because
Yeah.
I'm away next week over Christmas, and of course it's the festive period. But early January we'll get together, and I want the team's input, as to how we think can improve and move forwards and develop in 2025.
Yeah, no, that's a really good thing to do. We have a meeting booked for the 9th of January to do the same sort of thing. We have a quarterly meeting, so that meeting will reflect, I guess, on the previous quarter, and then set things up for the coming quarter and the year, actually.
When I thought about the goals for myself, and I'll tell you some of mine, if I may, for
Sure.
2025, because I've in preparing for today for this podcast, I thought, well, what could we talk about? What can I do in 2025 that's different from this year, and where do I want the business to be, and where do I want it to go? So we have. I like talking with the team about client events next year. We don't start with the how much business are we going to write, how many new clients we're going to take on, what AUM level are we going to get to, all of that. I might have that as later on, but I'd start with client events. So we've got two of them booked already. How can we engage better with our clients? How can we improve? Add things but take things away in terms of our processes, our procedures, the software that we use. I like to write a list of all CPD or events that I can go to. So all the seminars, all the webinars, all the things, as many as possible, and get them booked in, because you feel like, good, I've got things to look forward to learn. You have to do CPD as a finance professional. Um, and then we've decided, or rather, I've decided, one of the things that I want to do is to do some tandem shorts. They're going to be called these short videos, 3 to 5 minute videos, to engage with clients that way, and have that video interview, that video meeting rather, with the client. They can read them, they can watch them rather, um, and it's short and sweet, because people's attention spans are dropping. Um, and then we'll talk about projects, new staff, new software that we might use, holidays, not just for me, but obviously for the team, the staff, and yeah, just new things that we can bring into the business to sort of make it run smoother. Because your team don't want to just be working more and more. I think people want to work efficiently. They want to get paid more. They want to work in a happy company and have a great culture and a great team, morale and spirit in the office. So that's what I want to encourage as well.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. It sounds very similar to our quarterly meeting, that sort of thing we would do. We don't discuss holidays, to be fair, and I just made a note of it then because I think that'd be a really cool thing to put down. Talk and say, what's your plans this year? One of the guys is getting married,
All right.
so I'm sure he's got plans around that. But just sort of see. I always put in my diary, so year ahead, I always put in the diary the weeks that I have off. I typically work a 6-week on, 2-week off schedule throughout the year, and those 2 weeks off tend to fit around school holidays. But of course, this year is going to be the first year of come July that I don't need to do the school holiday bit. So I'm still going to stick with the 6 weeks on, 2 week off, but I'm going to move the school holidays so the 2 weeks off, so I don't coincide with school holidays.
Yeah,
So
it'd be cheaper holidays for you,
oh,
you know,
can't
rather
wait.
than go away when everyone else is
Yeah,
going. Right?
yeah.
It's amazing how the cost of holidays inflates dramatically during school holidays, isn't it?
Ridiculous. So you're absolutely right. Putting in the CPD, putting the events in there and stuff like that. I'll do and put holidays in, and then that allows a structure of a diary for then the team in the office just to book clients in when the planning meetings fall due. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's good. It's
Um,
good.
the other thing, the thing I wanted to talk about actually here that I've taken from one of our presentations that I tend to do with all my clients. One of the penultimate slides sort of says the life planning areas, and I think there's 9 life planning areas. Rather, it's conveniently and it fits on the screen and looks quite symmetrical when you do 3 rows of 3. But they are these are the things. There's family, home, friends, work, activities and hobbies, health, finances, personal development, and ikigai. Right. So I explain what all those are, including ikigai, which I'm going to tell you in a minute. But you look at all of these, and then I ask the clients the question: what do I need or want to do in each area? So they'll be asking themselves. So whether it's family, or I've got a family gathering or a get together, or I need to go and see my family. What do I need or want to do in that area? Is it development of a house? The house project. Is it learning an instrument? So you write down first of all, what do I need or want to do in each area, and then you say, why is it important? And you write it down. The third thing is, why am I not on top of it now? Why am I not doing it now? A lot of people, will say, "Oh, I'd like to get together with more of my friends, but they don't call me, so I won't bother calling them." um, and then the fourth thing is, what steps do I need to take? And it's very simple. If you want to achieve anything, you have to write down what you want to do, say why it's important, literally be an accountability partner to yourself and say, why am I not doing it now? Why am I not going to the gym? Or why am I not? I love going on a motorbike. Why am I not doing it? Is it because I don't really like doing it? Is it because I don't have the time? Have I not made the time? And what things can I do to be on top of it? What steps can I take? And the more you don't have to plan absolutely everything in your life out, which sounds like we're doing in this podcast. But if it's something's important to you and you don't write it down and you don't plan it out and you don't take the time to actually do it and book it in your diary, you just won't do it. So if holidays are your thing, my advice absolutely to anyone listening is to think about where you want to go, where you're going to go, when you're going to go, what the cost is going to be, and then book it,
Yeah.
because then you can look forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, definitely. And, right, sir. Do you think, is there anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
So I did mention there about that term ikigai.
Oh, yeah.
Ikigai. I don't know how you pronounce it. I've said it all the time, but it's basically a Japanese concept that translates to reason for being, a reason to wake up in the morning. It represents the intersection of purpose, passion, and satisfaction in your life. So it's the 2 words iki, which means life or living, and gai, which means value or worth. So you've learned something today.
I learn
Yeah.
every time I speak with you, Paul.
So, tell me some of the things that you're going to do in 2025. Have you decided anything and one thing that you've decided? Right, what's the big focus for next year, Warren, for Lexington?
So there's 2 things there. So I see my goals separate to Lexington.
Okay.
So I would. So when you said what am I going to do, the first thing I sort of went to is sort of holidays and things along those lines.
Okay. Fun stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, fun stuff. So I've been already speaking to my kids about we have this 24 hours away with each of them. Bella, it looks like it's going to be the Euros, women's Euros, coming up in Sweden, I think she said. So we'll probably go away there and watch some football. With Ollie, he's really into running, but he run like 15Ks for a laugh. And for me, I'm a 10K runner at best. So yeah, he wants to do something like that. So we'll think of something. We might compromise on golf. But we will, that we both enjoy golf, so that might be, a good sort of compromise. But I like to do something like that, and then obviously something with Nikki. This year, Nikki had something booked in the diary every month, whether it was just a meal out or a holiday or something.
That's nice to do.
It was brilliant. And I write a Christmas letter to my clients. Went out this year, and I said, "Do you know what? She did it. I'm now going to do it for the next 50 years." So I'm going to put something in the diary every month and enjoy it. So that's something I could think around. Do you know what? My financial goals are not based on monetary amounts; they're based on percentages. So we try and retain roughly 25% of our revenue, stuff like that. So there's a financial goal there. Fitness, I'm training at the moment. I have like scale weights that I want to sort of get down to and stuff like that.
What's your plan physically then? From a fitness point of view, you want to get stronger, fitter, lose weight. What's the?
I want to live longer. That's my
Yeah.
outcome. Yes, my outcome. So you're a bit more of an extreme sportsman than me. You get pleasure out of running up and down Penny Fan in all weathers and stuff. I like going. Yeah, I like going to Penny Fan, but it's not something that I would probably do the fan dance, but probably not do it within the time frame. I know that kind of defeating the object, but that kind of thing. I am doing the Yorkshire Three Peaks. I've got that down, so we're doing the Yorkshire Three Peaks, stuff like that. But my health and fitness is around longevity. I'm very mindful that
And living well. It's not just about living to age 100. If you don't feel good about it, you
have a
can't.
good health span as well as a
Yeah,
lifespan.
yeah,
100.
yeah, exactly.
I've got a challenge with my kids and my dad, so I've got to outlive him. So he's 100 in March. So that's the goal with my dad, and my kids' goal is they've got to outlive me. So we play these little games, stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the kind of the fitness side of things, the financial side of things, the adventure kind of things, and I'd like to do more in schools. From a contribution thing, I enjoy speaking to schools. I get a lot of fulfillment from it, particularly state schools and stuff. So if there's anyone listening to this got connection with state schools, I've got a relationship with a few schools around here. Give me a shout. I'd like to probably do a few more presentations from there.
I wanted to build our team next year, so take on a few more staff members. We've got a new chap starting in middle of January, a new administrator, so that's very exciting, and then may have a second advisor starting next year. So it really isn't about the numbers, but you've got it in the back of your mind. You always want to be profitable, and you want to sort of have a better year. What does that mean? That just means for me now making sure that all the staff and team are paid well, and that clients are happy, and that we're looking after them and doing our job as well as we possibly can. And that usually translates to the assets that we manage going up because we take on new clients, markets doing their thing, existing clients putting regular payments in. But I don't think the profitability goal or the AUM goal should be the forefront. It's a consequence of being excellent at your job. If you focus on the client, the engagement, doing the best you can in the most efficient way, the money part of it will come anyway. You'll be financially successful anyway if you're doing a great job.
Sorry, you talk about business goals. So from a business perspective, we're recruiting for a paraplan at the moment. And once the paraplanner is on board, we'll then be recruiting for another financial planner. My sort of 5-year goal was to have a team of about 4 of us is planners and being supporters and stuff like that. So from a structure thing, one thing I've taken away from this is you put client events in straight away. Now I'm committed. Nikki's not so committed, but I'm committed to having a client event this year because it'll be 30 years that I've been in the business. Right. So we have a client event most Februarys. We've missed a couple, but I'd like a client event. Nikki's feeling a bit overwhelmed because we're hosting my dad's birthday party as well. But
there's been loads of client events though. We have Charlie Walker next year speaking to about 40 clients. I've booked the Royal Albert Hall to take about 6 clients to watch Gladiator in front of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. And we had a tape membership, so we can take clients there. We went to the races, day at the races, and I definitely want to do another cheese and wine event. Because wine tasting is tremendous with clients.
We do those. So we've done everything from Ed Sheeran concerts to chefs' tables to wine cheese events, stuff like that. So we do.
You're talking about a big event. You're talking about a big event.
Yeah, all client event. Yeah,
all right.
all client event. That kind of thing. If you can't do it when you've been in the business 30 years, when can you do it?
Exactly. Well, I've been making inroads to find a venue for my 50th, albeit it's not for another 22 months or something, 21 months, but September
the kind of place
2026.
You probably have to book it up now, right?
No, I've been talking to people now because all of 2025 for the really good places are booked up. It pretty much. There's still obviously places that will have availability, but I'm trying to get. This is how organised I'm trying to be. Hey, listen, should we do some quotes to sort of sign off today?
Okay, so
you start.
I'll start with a quote for you, and it kind of in tune with everything else I've been saying today. It's our habits that make us and our habits that break us.
And who said that?
I don't know. I think it was a guy called Bill Phillips, who's a personal trainer out in the States. He's a friend of mine. So that's where I got it from. So I'm going to say Bill.
Right back at you with this one. We'll alternate today. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. That was Benjamin Franklin.
Cool. And then discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That was from Jim Rohn.
Very good. Yes, like that. That's you've got to be disciplined, haven't you? You have to be disciplined. It's the same if you want to learn an instrument, be good at sport, lose some weight, whatever it is. And that goes back to habits as well. What about this one from Zig Ziglar? You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yeah, 100%. And when you're thinking about your goal setting, stuff like that, just remember the likes of Colonel Sanders. So Colonel Sanders created Kentucky Fried Chicken. He was at retirement age, receiving Social Security in America, and just couldn't afford to live and just was fed up. And he had no other assets apart from this fantastic chicken recipe handed down from his grandmother. And he went around a number of chicken restaurants to sell this recipe to them. And they thought he was a crazy old man with a white beard. And after getting 1,009 no's, he finally found a restaurateur to say, okay, look, I'm not going to pay you for the recipe, but I will pay you a percentage of the proceeds of every chicken piece we sell. And that was the foundation of KFC. That
is a good little anecdote. Thank you, Warren. I've got a quote to perhaps finish on from Tony Robbins, the infamous Tony Robbins, great author, public speaker. He said, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible.
That's great. I like that as well. No, I do. Very, very powerful. Completely true. Right. We'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into the Finance Geeks. That's it for today. We're going to geek out this session. We'll be back on the 14th of January to cover business planning and setting your year up ahead. Have a great Christmas and New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a great New Year. Stay healthy.
Thanks for tuning in to the Finance Geeks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments on YouTube. Got questions? Send them our way. Follow us on social media and join us next time for more insights to boost your financial planning game.